Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey there.
So we've gathered some sources today, really focusing on one main article.
Yeah, and it gets into something pretty interesting.
Right. It's about, when kids of really famous people decide to, well, step out from behind that big family name.
Exactly. The main source looks at Michelle Obama talking about her daughter, Malia.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of branches out, looking at other examples, celebrity kids using different names, professionally, sometimes even legally.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. We want to unpack the reasons, like why do it, shed the famous name.
What's going on with the family dynamics?
Yeah, and what does it maybe tell us about identity, independence, earning your own way?
Especially when your last name is, globally recognized.
Exactly. So where should we start? The central example, Malia Obama.
Yeah, let's dive into that. So this got some buzz back in February 2024. Remember?
Oh, right, with her film project, The Heart.
Yes, The Heart. It was at Sundance Institute's Meet the Artist thing.
And people noticed the credit.
Yeah, sharp eyes. She wasn't credited as Malia Obama. It was just Malia Ann.
Malia Ann. Okay, so a clear professional choice for her film stuff.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And the source brings in Michelle Obama's take on this. She was on that Sibling Revelry podcast recently, June 3rd.
With Kate and Oliver Hudson, right? What did she say? Was she okay with it?
Oh, yeah, she was very clear. Said she's all for her daughter's independence.
Okay.
But she also mentioned, kind of realistically, what her and Barack's initial reaction was.
Oh.
They basically said, they're still going to know it's you, Malia.
Huh. Well, yeah. I mean, that's probably true.
Totally. Because, after the White House years, anonymity, not really on the table for them.
That's a fair point. Acknowledging the reality, but still supporting the effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Michelle really stressed that they respect Malia trying to make her way.
Trying to make her way. That feels like the key phrase there, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not just about, ditching the name.
No, it's about the active process, building something separate from the legacy.
Yeah, building her own career, her own identity.
And Michelle gave more context, right, about parenting Malia, who's 26 now, and Sasha, 23.
She did. She talked about them moving into young adulthood in this kind of natural push-away period.
Especially during the teen years, she mentioned.
Yeah, prominent then, but maybe something they still navigate a bit.
It's about finding their own feet.
And this push-away, it's not about rejecting the parents necessarily.
No, not how she framed it. It's about trying to distinguish yourself.
Okay.
And she said, for her and Barack, it's really important for my kids to feel like they've earned what they are getting in the world. Ah, that's huge. That sensitivity to how people might see them.
Definitely. Michelle said they're very sensitive to that whole idea that people might just think, oh, they don't work hard. Things are just handed to them.
Because of the name.
Exactly. They seem really aware that the name could, overshadow their actual effort, their merit.
Which, when you think about growing up in the White House, I mean, what a unique pressure cooker.
Totally. And Michelle touched on that, how it shaped their parenting.
She said something about them understanding their parents' values more now, seeing them as full human beings.
Yeah, now that they're older. And also that the girls really push back against the whole princess image.
Oh, yeah. She said they definitely didn't want to be little princesses in the White House.
Quite the opposite, it sounds like. They wanted to push the envelope.
They needed some rope.
Yeah, wanted to try some things, be out in the world.
And Michelle felt they needed maybe more rope than she might have given otherwise, based on her own upbringing.
Right. She saw they needed that space to, explore and figure out who they were, define themselves.
Right. So with Malia, it's like this mix of her own drive for independence, wanting earned recognition, plus this parenting approach that respects that need for space.
All happening under the glare of one of the most famous names ever.
Yeah, it's quite a combination.
And the source is clear. Malia's situation, it's not unique.
Right. This pattern shows up elsewhere, choosing to change or drop the famous name professionally.
Yeah, the article lists quite a few others. It's pretty compelling when you see them together.
Okay, let's run through some. There was Chelsea O'Donnell, Rosie O'Donnell's adopted daughter.
Right. She filed legally, this was January 2025, to change her last name.
To her birth mother's maiden name, Macaulay. That feels very personal.
Definitely a deep connection there. Then there's Suri Cruise, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' daughter.
What did she do?
For her high school graduation, June 2024, reports said she used Suri Noel.
Noel. That's her mom, Katie Holmes' middle name, right?
Exactly. So kind of linking to the parent, maybe less tied to that huge public profile of the Cruise name.
Interesting. And Shiloh Jolie Pitt, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter.
Yeah, she made a legal move right on her 18th birthday, May 2024.
Filed to change her name legally?
To Shiloh Jolie, specifically dropping the Pitt.
Wow, okay, that's a big step right at adulthood.
It is. And then you see it a lot in, like, creative fields or public-facing roles.
And like Olivia Jade Giannulli, Massimo Giannulli and Lori Loughlin's daughter.
Yeah, professionally as an influencer. On YouTube, she's just Olivia Jade.
And Elle King, the singer. Her dad is Rob Schneider.
Right. Born Tanner L. Schneider.
Yeah.
But she goes by Ella King.
Her middle name plus her mom's last name, London King.
Yep. Another one. Samia Najimy Finnerty. Kathy Najimy and Dan Finnerty's daughter.
The singer.
Yeah, she performs just as Samia.
And this isn't totally new either. The article mentions Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, classic example. Born Nicholas Kim Coppola.
Son of August Coppola, nephew of Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, that's Hollywood royalty.
Huge name. But
yeah.
He chose Nicolas Cage professionally, inspired by Luke Cage, the comic character, apparently.
To break away from the Coppola legacy, forge his own acting path?
Makes sense. And even Willow Smith, Will and Jada's daughter.
As a musician, she's just Willow, in all caps.
Right. So, okay, looking at all these examples from the sources,
yeah,
what's the common theme here? What jumps out?
Well, it seems like a really strong, like, powerful desire for an independent identity.
Yeah, stepping out of that shadow. Or maybe just out from under the weight of the name.
And it feels very tied to their jobs, their careers.
Definitely. Film, music, being an influencer. Places where who you are and what you do is supposed to matter.
Which loops right back to what Michelle Obama said about her daughters being sensitive to perception.
Exactly. It's this pattern of wanting to be judged on their own stuff, their talent, their work.
Not just getting by because of who their parents are. They want it to feel earned.
Yeah, earned success. And the way they do it varies, right?
Totally. First name, middle name, other parent's name, new name, legal change, all sorts of methods.
But the motivation underneath seems pretty consistent.
And it often kicks in right around young adulthood when they're starting those professional journeys.
Makes sense. That's when you're really trying to establish yourself.
So, okay, why does this matter to you listening? You probably don't have paparazzi chasing you.
Probably not. But this whole deep dive, it highlights something pretty universal, doesn't it?
Yeah, that drive to, make your own identity. Get recognized for what you accomplish.
Feel like your achievements are actually yours, earned by you.
Absolutely. The spotlight on these famous kids just makes it maybe more obvious, more intense.
But the basic struggle, navigating your background, defining yourself, making sure your work gets seen, that's something pretty much everyone deals with trying to make their mark.
So wrapping this up, what we've seen from these sources is that when children of famous parents change their names, especially professionally,
it usually comes from this really deep need for independence.
Yeah, and wanting their own achievements to be seen as, well, standing on their own merit.
And Michelle Obama's perspective is a good reminder, too, that this push for self-definition, it's important.
It's a key part of growing up, and it needs respect, needs support.
Even if, shaking off the public recognition completely isn't really possible.
It really does make you think, though, about your own name. What role does it play in how you see yourself, how you want others to see what you do?
Yeah, how do you manage that line between where you come from and the path you're trying to build for yourself? How do you make sure your wins feel truly earned?